Bryan Gaiser is an investment advisor representative of Advisory Alpha LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. All opinions expressed by Bryan Gaiser are solely his own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Advisory Alpha. This recording is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. Investment advisory and financial planning services offered through Advisory Alpha LLC, a registered investment advisor. Insurance, coaching, and educational services offered through Gaiser Financial Group. Gaiser Financial Group is a separate and unaffiliated entity of Advisory Alpha LLC. While tax and legal services may be discussed in the general course of financial and investment planning, Advisory Alpha does not provide tax or legal services. Please consult with your tax or legal professional prior to making decisions related to these issues. This material is not endorsed or approved by the Social Security Office or any other government agency. An annuity is a long-term financial product designed largely for asset accumulation and retirement needs. All guarantees are backed by the claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. All opinions expressed by externally cited sources are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Advisory Alpha. This is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. The case studies presented reflects the specific circumstances of one client and should not be considered a guarantee that another client or potential client may experience the same or certain level of results. This is for informational purposes only and should not be construed as investment recommendations or solicitation. Names have been changed to protect the anonymity of clients and are not testimonials in nature. Learn, grow, and take charge of your retirement. This is the Wealth Through Wisdom podcast with financial advisor Bryan Gaiser, founder of Gaiser Financial Group.
Okay, so higher interest rates that we have dealt with the past few years, it was new to many Americans who were spoiled by the luxury of low interest rates on our mortgages or for a car loan or all these things. But I have been fascinated by the conversation I've been able to have about how the advantage of higher interest rates for retirees. And lately, we heard recently how the Fed is holding those interest rates steady for now. Some predicting we're going to see them make a cut this fall. Of course, you like to say it's like the weather. We don't know. We just don't know. We're going to wait and see what happens. Morningstar economist Preston Caldwell says the Fed actually, it's got its work cut out for it.
Our inflation forecasts have headed up. We expect inflation to average 3% this year and 3.2% next year. So after several years of inflation coming down and getting closer to the Fed's 2% target, it's now likely to head up a little bit again. And that may be just purely a temporary phenomenon, but there's risks that inflation could become entrenched in the economy, and that would be much harder for the Fed to deal with.
So with inflation staying sticky as it has, Bryan, and interest rate cuts still up in the air as to who and when and why, are you making adjustments in the plans that you've created for your clients so we can protect our money? How is it playing out at the office?
You know, it really just boils down to this. If you keep things simple, once again, we talk about simplicity. Mm-hmm. The number one thing you need in retirement is income, right? That mailbox money, as we talk about. Mm-hmm. And as long as that surpasses your expenses every single month, so in other words, surplus income in retirement, as those steady checks come in from pensions, Social Security, creating your own pension through an annuity, whatever it may be, your rental properties, as long as you have more than enough, instead of just trying to get right there at it. Yeah. That's going to be the key. And some things that people can do to fight inflation. And where is inflation going? It's like the weather, Heather. Yeah. I like that. It's like the weather, Heather. But it really boils down to, keeping things simple. Hey, if I have $7,000 in bills, I probably need $8,000 or $9,000 coming in a month. Okay. And when that little extra comes in, that extra $1,000 or $2,000 a month, I'm going to sprinkle some over here in my rainy day fund because my hot water heater is going to go out. Yeah. My roof at some point may need to be replaced in my lifetime. Just things are going to happen. You're going to need new tires. That's not normal expense on a car. It's a once-in-a-while expense. You need your once-in-a-while bucket, your rainy day bucket. Yep. The unknowns and the knowns put into that account, right? Yep. And keep building that and building that. Keep it off in a savings, whether it's $20,000, whether it's $40,000, whether it's $60,000. Maybe a year's worth of expenses in there and what have you. The reason you need that is because that's what takes the inflation bite out of it. That's what takes you away from having to put it on a credit card. And so just common sense things will help you with inflation. You control your own inflation to some point. Okay. To some point. Okay. You know, if you budget properly, if you look for good deals on things that you need, not just good deals. A lot of people say, well, I can shop and I can get some really good deals. Yeah, but if you didn't need it, you got a terrible deal, right?
Right.
And you got to remember and tell yourself that.
Yeah.
But budgeting and things along this line is what helps you control inflation. Knowing what you spend and knowing that you have more than enough guaranteed every month when you go to the mailbox is really a big part of this.
Okay.
And that's where people fail. I'm just going to be point blank. That's where people fail.
Okay.
So don't think your money's never going to run out. But then again, you don't want to go on the other side of that either, where you don't spend, you're eating just beans and peanut butter and jelly and you got $1 million in your account.
Right.
You don't want to do that. You just want to know the money you're spending will be replaced next month. And then over and above that will be additional money that you can invest, that you can put in your rainy day bucket, that you can pay for things like long-term care, health care. Because I've got a couple that came in just recently, and they were a little concerned about it. I said, before you come in, I want you to do a budget, and I want you to live by that budget a month or two. And they came in, and they said, you know what? We found areas where we saved about $400, and we still have the same stuff. It didn't hurt us a bit, but we saved about $400.
Okay.
Well, that increased their surplus by about 25%.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I said, well, now your surplus is up 25%. What are you going to do with that extra money? And they're sprinkling that now into their rainy day bucket until they decide what would make sense in the future. And in addition to that, what we did is we put together a couple of little additions to their plan that's going to give them in 5 years an additional $500 a month.
Okay.
And then in another 5 years beyond that, and another additional $500. Because here's the thing. In the early going, that first 10 years, you'll feel that inflation more because you usually spend more.
Right.
And then you start slowing down your spending. You're not traveling as much. Or if you are traveling, it's really to places you know. And every now and then, you'll go to a place you don't know.
Right.
But the point is, you spend a whole lot less on vacation. You kind of get in your habits. You've really got it down to an art, and it takes about 10 years because you want to do a lot of things. You want to hit that bucket list hard, and I'm all for that.
Yeah.
But then once you reduce your expenses, your own individual inflation has gone down. So really, you just need to stay focused on that first decade. And these folks, in their case, it's that first decade and a half. I think they're going to keep going.
Okay.
So that's why we put together something that will add additional guaranteed income for the both of them for the rest of their lives.
Okay. Thinking about where the Fed is and understanding inflation, if you're wondering how it could impact your overall income in retirement and you want to crunch the numbers, Bryan and his team, they are ready to do that for you. You can start the conversation. Give us a call. 336-586-5861 is the number you're dialing. We've opened up 5 spots on Bryan's calendar just for radio listeners today. So be one of the first 5 callers if you've saved $500,000 or more to begin the conversation about creating your own retirement income strategy, one that adjusts with inflation. Again, it's 336-586-5861 for the first 5 callers right now. Because, Bryan, despite headlines, despite what the Fed is doing, despite what inflation rates maybe if there's, a time like we've seen in the last few years where we've seen, a bump in inflation and then we see it come back down, it's just going to be there. So for people that are planning 20, 30, 40 years of retirement, as we all should be, we just have to factor it in, right?
You just have to. I mean, inflation's going to be there, whether it's 2%, 3%, 3.2% next year, as he says.
Yeah.
The bottom line is our country has printed too much money.
Yep.
Now, we can worry about that. We can whine about that, or we just go, you know what? They've really mismanaged the government. So no one disagrees with that. Now, what are you going to do about it?
Right.
How are you going to handle that? Are you paying off your debts? Did you eliminate your debts before you retire? All these type of questions you need to ask. Do you need to wait a year or two longer and just pay off your debt? I had a client not long ago that said, you're about to retire. You're about to turn 67. I said, do you hate your job? No, I love it. I'm really going to miss it.
Yeah.
I said, you can cut on your Social Security. Let's turn on your Social Security at 67. And in his case, in 2 years, with the extra money from Social Security, all of his debt would be eliminated.
Wow.
He will have built up a much larger rainy day bucket. And he said, I never thought about that. And I said, and now you get to continue to enjoy your job because you enjoy what you do. You get 6 weeks of vacation a year. You've already cut back to 32 hours. I said, do you really want that much time on your hands? If you don't, with debt, I would just hang in there another couple of years, add that to it. But he's more than going to pay off his debt. So What does that also do?
Yeah.
Well, if your house is paid for and your principal and interest is $1,100 a month, not including obviously your insurance and your taxes, but $1,100 more you'll have going to you. He said, Kyle, I never really looked at it that way. I said, and that $1,100 will be going, you can reinvest it on a regular basis during your retirement. So it's thinking outside the box. If you want to think outside the box, if you want to keep things simple, folks, 336-586-5861. 336-586-5861. We're on Dolly Madison Road, right off of Friendly Avenue here in Greensboro. I put my heart and soul into this. I love what I do. And one of the best things that I can offer you is how to simplify your retirement. Whether we make a match or not, I know that I can help you simplify your retirement and look at it from a 500-foot view and go, I got this. I can take care of this on my own. I can make this happen. But I'm telling you right now, there's so much more to retirement, but it really can be kept simple. We'll put together a plan for you. 336-586-5861. Give us a call.
Bryan, just a couple more minutes before we got to run, but thinking about this simplification process that you work so hard on for your clients, for somebody who has heard you on the radio before, perhaps has been a little bit gun shy as far as giving you a call because maybe they're just intimidated by the process. I think that happens to a lot of people. These good, intelligent, hardworking people are just completely intimidated by the financial and retirement planning process. What can they expect? We talk about, just give us a call, set up a time to begin the conversation, a first meeting. What happens in that meeting?
Yeah, that first meeting, we're just going to get to know you.
Yep.
We're going to get to know you, what's important to you, and then we're going to kind of explain to you in a simple fashion how the first 5 years should look, the next 5 years should look, and the next 5 years. The reason we go out that far, it shows you how your cost of living normally comes down as time goes on because you don't spend as much, things of that nature. And then we step back and we reverse engineer. Okay, you're going to be retiring on this date. What type of income streams do you need? How do we get that to surplus? What type of investments make sense? How much more conservative should you be in retirement? Mm-hmm. Do you have enough income streams? Do you have enough mailbox money? We break this down very simply, folks, for you in a written plan, and it will help you understand. And here's something else that a lot of people don't think about. What they don't think about is that, hey, how much do I need in retirement? Okay, how much do you need in retirement? Really, if you just kept it to that, how much do I need in retirement to retire? What type of return on that nest egg do I need along with my Social Security, my pensions? Yeah. You will walk away with all that information in about an hour and 15 minutes with us on this meeting. Once again, 336-586-5861. I can't put it any simpler.
Thanks for listening to the Wealth Through Wisdom podcast. To learn more, visit geiserfinancial.com. Bryan Gaiser is an investment advisor representative of Advisory Alpha LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. All opinions expressed by Bryan Gaiser are solely his own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Advisory Alpha. This recording is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. Investment advisory and financial planning services offered through Advisory Alpha LLC, a registered investment advisor. Insurance, coaching, and educational services offered through Gaiser Financial Group. Gaiser Financial Group is a separate and unaffiliated entity of Advisory Alpha LLC. While tax and legal services may be discussed in the general course of financial and investment planning, Advisory Alpha does not provide tax or legal services. Please consult with your tax or legal professional prior to making decisions related to these issues. This material is not endorsed or approved by the Social Security Office or any other government agency. An annuity is a long-term financial product designed largely for asset accumulation and retirement needs. All guarantees are backed by the claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. All opinions expressed by externally cited sources are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Advisory Alpha. This is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. The case studies presented reflects the specific circumstances of one client and should not be considered a guarantee that another client or potential client may experience the same or certain level of results. This is for informational purposes only and should not be construed as investment recommendations or solicitation. Names have been changed to protect the anonymity of clients and are not testimonials in nature.